All right, I'm going to do this update like super fast. All right, so the Riverside County Board of Supervisors took the chicken way out. That's what the result was. They postponed making the decision. And so they basically took the cowardly way out. They want to see what the governor is going to do and other counties are going to do. And so they just postponed the vote. There was a big protest in front. Doctors spoke. Pastors spoke. Business people spoke. But a lot of people called, according to this sheriff I know, a lot of people called on the opposite end and wanted the nation or the state, Riverside County, to stay closed. And I know that I can come across as really harsh sometimes or frustrated when I'm asking people to call, because the other side does not relent. The other side, they call. They go out and protest. They use big money. They use the media. And they don't back down. But the church remains, for the most part, lazy and scared. And we retreat. And so that's why I know I get frustrated with sometimes in like saying every vote count or call or vote counts, is because we are fighting against such a demonic agenda. And I know I've come across harsh on the whole virus thing, fear over the virus. And I kind of wanted to explain a little bit that. Because a spirit of fear has been released over our nation. And the spirit of fear was released by the enemy first. And so by the time the virus hit, many Christians and people are under a spirit of fear. And they can't see the numbers, from doctors and stuff that are being released, saying about how, it's got a 98% survival rate, how what they're telling us to do is actually opposite of what's good for our health. Like the mask thing is actually hindering our health. The sheltering in place is actually hindering our health from our immune system. And so you've got doctors coming out and nurses trying to explain logic, but people can't hear it because the enemy has put a spirit of fear over them. And so that's why a lot of times it's like we're talking to people and they just can't hear, they don't see. But my big fear, and I know that's something I have to deal with, is what's happening on a spiritual level. And I guess that's what I'm trying to wake people up to, that this thing is beyond. We've moved. The virus is just was used by the enemy to get the people to bow down to the agenda that the enemy has for the end times. Okay, so the whole one world order thing is basically, and the vaccine thing is a push from a prophetic standpoint. I literally feel like we've walked into the pages of chapters 1 through 4 of Revelation. I feel we've walked into Revelation, and many people, because they didn't study it, they don't know what's happening. Take for example, okay, in Ventura County, yesterday, it was said that they are going to, they want to go into your home now, and they're going to, if you don't have like a separate bathroom for somebody who's sick, they're going to remove that person from your home, okay, for our better good, okay. Newsom is now training and hiring like 2,000 plus people that are going to be going door to door, checking to see whether you've had the virus, whether you've been exposed. Okay, you take that and you put that with the Ventura thing, where they're going to be removing your children or people from their home against their will. Okay, this is now turning into what they did in China. And so that's why when I see what's happening, I get like, I want just to like wake people up to the prophetic that's happening. Because we have to get our mind beyond the fear of the virus to a fear of the Lord, of this is the church is in danger of losing all of their freedoms. So when you see pastors being arrested, when you see moms being arrested, hairdressers being arrested, and yet criminals being released out into our streets. So the criminals are being released to protect them from a virus, and our pastors and our moms and our hairdressers are being put in prison, okay, into danger. there is something wrong there. Okay, spiritually wrong there. Um, and so I'm going to tell you guys two dreams. Okay. Last year, I had two dreams. One in August and one in September. So back-to-back dreams. So when you have a dream, when you have two dreams that are the same thing, it's usually a message from the Lord. So I had two dreams. In the first one, there was a dream of that I was in like the refugee camp. You know, like the Samaritan's Purse when they put those white tents out. Okay, then you're like in those in camps. And the women had been separated from the men. And I knew in our heart, I was trying to get everybody like, we got to get back to the guys. We got to try to escape. And when I looked out, there was hundreds and hundreds of drones surveilling us. Now, when I had the dream, I thought it was that we had been attacked by Russia or China. Okay, that was my initial response to the dream. Okay, then in September, I have another dream. Okay, a few weeks after the first one. And now we're in residential areas. We're like in track home areas. I walk outside and there's hundreds and hundreds of drones outside surveilling us. And so in my dream, I say, hey, this looks like my original dream, my first dream. Then all of a sudden, I start yelling to people, get inside, get inside, get inside. And the drones start firing to the people and basically just incinerating them. The people are just like, they're being fired upon and just being killed off. And so I'm yelling at everybody to get into the house. Okay, so now in reflection, and like I said, it's just a dream. But now when I'm looking at what's happening, where they're hiring drones in like New York and different states to monitor the people, it's not, I thought that it was going to be a foreign invasion getting us, but now it's our own government, okay, that's doing this. And so now the whole push on this thing is the vaccine. Okay, the vaccine from the guy, I'm not going to say his name, he wants us to have a tracker in it, okay? So the drones will then be able to track you wherever you go. And so it's like, it's just the time to wake up, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I feel like, okay, why do I go to these rallies? Or why do I insist on making the calls? It's because we're called to be the restrainer, okay, of the Antichrist. This is the Antichrist. The spirit of the Antichrist is already at large, okay? The one world order is already forming. But we're still here. That means our job is to be the restrainer. So if it's a phone call, and that's all we can do, it's a restraining. If it's going to a rally, because a lot of people, these rally people, they're like, oh, well, they don't care about the people who are sick. They're endangering everybody. These people are fighting for our freedoms that we are slowly losing. They see what's happening with like the 4 moms that are the freedom moms, where my pastor spoke. Those were the moms that were trying to fight the vaccine laws that were happening in California. That's how this whole thing started. So they were seeing what was happening way before. And so one of those moms is not even a believer. I mean, she just sees the loss of freedoms. So it's like, I guess what I gotta say is, when you look at these people who are doing the protesting, and when you look at the people who are fighting, for their businesses, it's a fight, I guess, against what's coming. You know what I mean? We're restraining what we can restrain. And so I just kind of guess I wanted to kind of explain myself. If I seem harsh or if I seem like I'm insensitive, I'm not trying to be. I guess I'm just trying to say, I guess in my mind, I'm trying to say, we're still here. We haven't been raptured yet. We need to restrain what we can restrain. Before, I guess, eventually this stuff might happen even worse than it is if they keep passing laws. Like a lot of people will say, well, I won't take the vaccine. Well, what if it becomes, in California especially, a mandated thing? They already mandated that you don't have a religious way out of getting the vaccine for your kids to go to school. I mean, what if this becomes now that you have to get this vaccine to go to school? And so that's why you have to fight the good fight. We have to fight by making phone calls, praying, going to rallies. We have to try to fight it while we still have the ability to fight. So anyways, that was just what I wanted to kind of say today, that please forgive me if I come across as harsh. I don't mean to be. I think you guys know me well enough to know that I don't mean to come across harsh. I guess I just see the writing on the wall. And I'm scared. I'm afraid. But we got to keep fighting the good fight. We got to keep fighting the good fight. So, anyways, that was just what I wanted to share today. All right, love you guys. Bye.